From the F3 Nation podcast studios.
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
This is the COT Podcast.
Welcome back to the Circle of Trust podcast. Today is Friday, July 11th. Getting ready for another amazing weekend. Got a couple announcements real quick. We have our Afterburner call on Monday. Check the Nation Slack for that. July 22nd is the State of the Nation, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. Don't know how that affects you in your local area, but it'll be 6 p.m. Mountain Time for me. So today we have a I'm really excited about this. A little dust up on Slack. You know, that happens for sure. Sure you've seen it in your local regions. It certainly happens when you get a bunch of dudes, type A's in a room. It's going to happen. I think we've all know this. Circle of Trust, guys, man, if you got an issue, take it offline. Don't put it on Slack. Go talk to a dude. Just talk to him. In that dust up, I'll say somebody mentioned, hey, let's go on a podcast and chat. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. And so I reached out to Laimbeer and brought him in. And we're going to talk, and we're going to talk about leadership F3 and all the exciting things he does in his world. And I know you guys have heard about his bags that he's built, but I don't know if you met the man. And so today we're going to meet the man behind all the bags. And Laimbeer, I'd love to thank you for coming on here and welcome. And excited to have you. You want to introduce yourself? Tell us what region you are and introduce yourself. That'd be great. Tell us about your F3 journey too.
All right. So my name is Drew Snary. My F3 name is Laimbeer. I am with the Naperville region here in the greater Chicagoland, suburb of Naperville, southwest suburb. I've been a part of F3 since July of 2021. Yeah, 21, 4 years now this month. And I started the way a lot of guys start, where it's either fitness or fellowship. Very rarely in my experiences it started because of the third F, but you develop into that. But for me, it was fellowship. So during COVID, I had built a garage gym because you couldn't go to gyms anymore. And I'm a federal agent by trade. So my day job is federal law enforcement. And I moved to Chicagoland from the Detroit area in January of 2017. And now we're jump ahead to 2021. And I still only had like a couple friends because my job is transient, right? And so, you move from place to place to place. So, I only had like about 3 or 4 friends. A couple of them were Chicago PD officers and stuff like that. So everybody's busy all the time. And a guy from my church group, Ice T, shout out to Ice T, was EHing me hard for a couple months. Yeah, Ice T, yep, that's him. He was EHing me hard for a couple months, and I was like, "What time is this at? 5:15? No, I'm good. I got a garage gym. I'm all right." Well, I found that my routine is getting more and more lax, and because I was working all by myself, and then I'm looking at my phone between sets, and next thing you know, an hour workout only was 20 minutes of exercise. And so I reached out to him one day. I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I would like to try that." And so he had me come out on a Saturday morning to one of our AOs called the Outpost. Our ward daddy here in Naperville, Bob Ross, was leading, and I almost threw up in that workout. And he was, at the time, he was 68, 69 years old, and he led. And I was like, holy cow, man. I thought I was in decent shape because I was CrossFitting at home and stuff, and I was not. I was not in good cardio shape for sure. But I was immediately hooked. And I went to coffee with the guys afterwards, the cafeteria. And then I was really hooked because the guys were just so welcoming and would talk about anything. You could literally talk about anything. And so I started coming regularly. And within 6 months, I developed a shield lock with a group of guys that was different than what I had elsewhere. And it was very positive on my life. At the time, I had just finalized a divorce the year before, and the stress of that divorce, and then the after effect of being taken back to court and stuff like that, very stressful. And I was finding that I was drinking a lot, and not drinking in excess. Depends on what you call excess, right? Like a lot of nights I was having 2 or 3 drinks in the evening. And that some people would view that as excess. Some people would view that as Tuesday and Wednesday. So, but to me, I didn't really like it, and I didn't like where it was taking me. And big wake up call was my daughter I have two kids. One's 15, one turns 14 on Monday, and my youngest is my daughter. And uh, for my birthday, she got me a card that was a beer mug, and she wrote on it, "Dad's beer." And I was like, man, that's not a good sign. And then I found F3, and I didn't want to drink anymore because I wouldn't feel good getting up in the morning for a workout. And my priority shifted to wanting to exercise instead of wanting to de-stress, and exercise became my form of de-stress. And then, like I said, the Shield Lock started to build, and next thing you know, I'm running marathons and off course races all the time and stuff like that. And I was like, I thought I had hung that stuff up. Like I thought I was done with that stuff, and I was right back in it. And so, F3, especially in Naperville, has been life changing for me. I will say that right now. This is not a pitch for the program, but all of us that are listening right now, we're part of F3. We know what it is. I can get on Slack and I can reach out for an electrician, a plumber, anything. And if you, corporate attorney, everybody associated with my business that I know at some point we're going to talk from, like Athletic, are PAX or PAX related. And I'm trying to keep it that way as long as possible. Like my web designer is a PAX. All my photographer that I used for a while was a PAX. Corporate attorney, IP attorney, graphic designer, even our End of Watch program, which is our lifetime warranty program, our seamstress of a PAX. So everything we do is PAX related, and we're trying to keep it that way. Myself and my we think that F3 is a blessing, and so we are trying to keep it in the as the business scales and grows. We're trying to keep it in the family as much.
Love that. I love that network. Naperville, real quick. Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico is one of the guys that was influential in my very start. I will tell that he doesn't know this, but I know it. Like I actually I kind of looked up to him a little bit too because he had a certain sort of authority to himself, and it was not like a forced like authority or a forced bravado. It was more of like just nice guy, like, but this is what we're doing type of thing, you know. And at the beginning, I was like, man, that's a good dude. So like I pulled a calf, and he gave me like some ruck wraps to wrap it to help promote healing and stuff like that, like just out of the blue. So good dude, and a cadre, a cadre for Freedom Ops. Really
That's
good
why
guy.
I don't like
Really, that's why you don't like him because he's a cadre. Because he's gonna beat you up. Because he's not gonna be
He
your
was making
friend.
me do more burpees. One time I told a dude, shut up, I don't want to do burpees. And he heard me and made me do burpees.
Yeah. No, that sounds like Uncle Rico. It sounds like Uncle Rico. He's definitely
I,
a voice in our Slack channel.
I was a host queue for Boise, and I host queued. I wouldn't even do anything, and I lost a rope, and he made me do burpees right there. I wasn't even in the event. He's making me do burpees. No, I love that guy. And Aladdin, is there a young man named Aladdin?
Yeah, Aladdin was part of the original Shield Lock. Now, life changes happen, and we don't hang out as much as we used to because of family and stuff like that and children. But early on, man, we spent a lot of time together. Very good guy. He's a realtor here in the Naperville area. The type of guy that would just take his shirt off his back for you. Um,
I had a chance to meet him, I think, and it's just a guy's energy. He's one of those guys that just get around and like just can't help but better yourself. Being around guys like that.
He's inspiring. He's inspired. His journey. When you hear his journey, and that's for him to talk about, not for me. Like, and who he is, and where he's come from, and what he's doing now, and how he's become who he is. It's inspiring. You're like, well, man, I better step up my game, because this guy is hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah, Aladdin, call your boy. I want to hear this story. I don't know it. All right, let's get back into the. So you talked about your career in law enforcement. Can you go into that a little bit?
Sure. So, go ahead.
And specifically, I'm gonna hit on a couple. I'm leading these questions. I think everybody knows that. Specifically, leadership. And in leadership, you clearly have excelled in a lot of areas in your life. And I'm guessing leadership, you're a natural leader. And I'm guessing now that's what I'm hoping to hear or listen to, or in those examples. But talk to law enforcement, and if you have any leadership opportunities to talk about, that'd be great.
Well, I would never say that I'm a leader, right? Because in my belief is leaders don't need to tell people that they're leaders. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm a leader because I'm not going to say I'm a leader. I'm just saying like I wouldn't say that because people in a leadership position don't need to tout that they're a leader, because like you tell, like Uncle Rico, like he's not out there saying like, oh, do what I say, da 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 da, right? Like he just talks and you listen. Yeah, Aladdin's the same way, man. Like he leads our Q schools here, and like it's guys show up, because they know that he's going to give them a good lesson and that he is going to be influential. So in regards to leadership, like I've done stuff that could be quantified as leadership, but I don't profess that I am like a leader, man. I just state that I need to go out there and I need to do something. And if you're with me, you're with me. If you're not, that's okay too. But I'm gonna make sure that we don't fall down on the way, right? Like I'm gonna do my best to protect you and protect me and get us through it.
Love that. You want to give us? Can you give
Oh
us your
yeah, the
timeline
back.
of law enforcement?
Oh yeah, so in law enforcement. So I uh, I went to a college called Fair State University. It's on the west side of Michigan. I went there for criminal justice. From there, I hired on with the Oakland County Sheriff's Department as a sheriff's deputy. It's in suburban Detroit. It's the county on the north border of Wayne County, which Wayne County is where Detroit is. And so I was a sheriff's deputy there for 2 years. Um, and it was like a good place to work, but it was also for me, it was a foot in the door because I knew I wanted to do more. I didn't know what, but I knew I wanted to do big things. And you could do big things there, but it just didn't fit me at the time. So I spent about a year in the jail. And if you're in law enforcement, you're thinking about going to law enforcement, your kids are thinking about law enforcement, I'd highly recommend that because most people are not in there on a good situation. In fact, nobody is. Like, even if they're wrongly accused or something like that, it's not a good situation that they're in there for, right? Um, and so you learn how to talk, and I think that helps me with the whole leadership, non-leadership thing. Is you learn how to talk to people from all walks of life, and you learn how to become relatable to people from all walks of life and how to get them to talk to you. And people that are in rough situations that don't want to talk, you learn how to still get them to talk to you and basically do what you need them to do. So I did a little time there, and then I worked in the courts there, and that's interesting stuff. And then I hired on with the Southfield Police Department, which is on the north border of Detroit. A lot of times when I was in a younger career, we called it Little Detroit because it was a very busy place, especially at night. And I was a patrol officer there for 5 years, and then I was promoted to detective. And as a detective for 8 years, I was assigned to B&E's property crime, so that uh, brought in a lot of gang stuff. And from there, I was actually eventually assigned out to an FBI gang and violent crime task force, where we specifically in the Detroit region we worked gangs, guns, drugs, violent crime. And so I worked every homicide in my city, every carjacking, every shooting, anything like that. Like I would get called in and I'd work it, and then I would work the task force stuff too, and actually worked some very large scale national cases. I was fortunate in that situation that I was case agent on a couple of things like that, and it was amazing. And that kind of catapulted me into the next step. Like at that point, my chief at the time was pressing me to test for sergeant, and I didn't want to. I enjoyed the street detective life. I love the street detective life, where you're just out there beating the pavement and talking to people and making cases out of nothing, developing informants, stuff like that. And so I ended up leaving, taking an early retirement from the police department and hiring on with United States Secret Service. The U.S. Secret Service sent me to Chicago. That's how I am here now, and that's why I'm still here. And what happened with them was when you work in the field, you work in investigations, but you supplement DC for protection. So the capital for protection. So if somebody comes to Chicago, or you are working or every so many months they have what's called rota or rotation, and so you're assigned out to protection. And so and you may get rolled. And so like you may be at the time when I was in, I may be in Billings, Montana with Mike Pence. And then the next week I'm back in Chicago with Obama. And then the week after that, I'm in New Jersey at a golf course with Trump. Right. And that's how it would go. And it was a lot of fun. I worked some amazing investigations there in organized crime. Built a lot of contacts throughout the Chicago area. When I wasn't working protection, I focused heavily on criminal investigation as much as you can because the protection is the primary mission with the Secret Service, understandably, because somebody can commit a crime and it's still going to be there a week later. But if you don't dot your I's and cross your T's in a protective detail, your protectee is not going to be there, right? And we've seen that in the last year. We've seen a couple of attempts. One that was thwarted, and one that was thwarted retroactively, and one that was thwarted proactively with assassination attempts. But I loved working there, and my bosses were amazing. It's a very old school agency, but in Chicago, we had a couple of supervisors that were agent first supervisors and really looked out for you, man. And even to this day, if they called me and asked me to help them with something, I would, because they're just those type of guys. But I towards the end of my time there, there was 1 month that I was on rotation and I was home one day, and I had an 8 and a 6-year-old. I was missing a lot of stuff, and all the cool stuff that you got to do that was really neat, like standing on top of the White House or being in this place where where people don't get to go, stuff like that. It kind of loses its luster when you're missing out on everything that's important to you. And my children are heads and whatever, I don't know the phrase, man, but above and beyond what important to me in my job. I work for them, not I work I work for me. I work for them, right? So it's not about accolades for me. You see some stuff up on me behind the wall. That's because my kids asked me to put it up because they wanted to see it. It was in boxes. And it was in boxes for years because, in my opinion, you would get an award for a case you worked or doing something heroic or whatever. And you go up in front of a room, you shake somebody's hand, people clap for you for 30 seconds, and then it's over. It's forgotten. My son and daughter, when I'm retired and they're in their 20s, 30s, the only people that are going to remember that I worked weekends and nights at my job are going to be my son and daughter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nobody at work is going to remember, hey, do you remember Laimbeer that retired 4 years ago? Man, that guy was a hard worker. He was always here on the weekends. No, I'll be forgotten, right? But my kids will remember. So that's very important to me. So long story short there, I ended up doing a lateral transfer. At the time, I was a single father. So travel was very, very difficult with the agency. I'm very fortunate to have an amazing mom that lived in Michigan that would come over and help me all the time. Like if I had a search warrant or something like that, she would drive 6 hours to come help with the kids because I didn't have help anywhere else. And so I know I needed to make a change. And I was actually contacted by the Office of Inspector General over the Postal Service and asked if I was interested in lateral off a case that I previously worked with them. Apparently they liked the work, and I said yes. And a couple weeks later, I was in the process, and a month later, I was working for the Office of Inspector General as a special agent, and I was a lateral transfer, and now I work in the Chicagoland. I work narcotics and mail theft for the Office of Inspector General.
I want to highlight one thing you said, and this kind of resonated with me a little bit. One of my shield locks is the police captain, one of the police captains around here, and he went to Boston recently. One of the speakers there was a guy from Chicago, and I think he was a chief. I think he worked in Chicago and Philadelphia. I could be messing the story up. But he talked about how when he presented his accolades, all he did was talk about the people he worked with and the things they got done together. And so to hear you say that again about if it's the same guy, I don't know. But I love that. Love that leadership style.
Yeah, man. It's teamwork makes the dream work. And my kids, let me give you this example, Huck. So the whole work thing, the awards and stuff like that, it'll be long gone and forgotten, right? Like commendations, long gone and forgotten. But I've coached my daughter in softball for 5 years. I've been either an assistant coach or the head coach on her team, and those are memories I'll never forget, right? And she won't either. Like third grade or first year, it was coach pitch, and I pitched to her every game except for one. And watching her go from not being able to hit the ball at all to hitting the ball almost every at bat, and being a part of that entire process that year, I mean, it's a memory that you just can't replace, and she's not going to be able to replace either. So you can't make that up. There's a saying out there that, and I don't know who said it, but I've heard it at a lot of COTs, and I've used it also, that 94% of the time that you spend with your children is before the age of 18.
You gonna hit me? Yeah, I think I've told the story before. I'll tell it again. But when Halloween, we're coming up on it again. But this last year, my wife and I walked around without our kids, and they wanted to go with friends in another direction, and we didn't want to stand in the way. But I wish I'd have known the year before. Somebody would have come up and said, "This is your last chance, so enjoy the heck out of it." And I probably didn't appreciate it enough. But yeah, yeah, but Laimbeer and I have spoken a little bit before this meeting, so I kind of have a little bit of history. So I can't remember if he mentioned this, but in this podcast or just the conversation. But he went through a divorce. I know he mentioned that earlier, but he's been a single dad for a period. Is that correct? And can we talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. To a degree, I didn't get on here to bash somebody else, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and their faults in life. And I will say that I'm a single dad no longer. By the grace of God. Nicole, if you're listening right now, I'm letting them know right now that
She's
we're
not
together.
listening.
So,
These are like there's like 8 F3 dudes that listen to this podcast. She ain't hearing
well,
that.
because it's me, it's me. She might listen, and she
Yeah.
is my rock. So I'm very fortunate. That's my fiance. We are getting married, but prior to her, I was a single dad for 6, 7 years, ish. And man, it's a process, right? So like, I remember just falling asleep exhausted at night, still trying to work a career, still trying to get places. I relied heavily on neighbors and friends to carpool for the kids because there's just some place I couldn't get it done. And there's a lot of times, and I didn't care because I wanted them to be involved in what they needed to be involved in. There was times that they needed to be at the same place at the same time. And, so you got to drop somebody off like 15, 20 minutes early, or you got to get somebody to give a ride, like, hey neighbor, can you do me a favor and give my daughter a ride to practice over here while I take him to this, so but yeah, man, it is an interesting process. That's why we're still in Chicago, I think, is because the kids are here and they're established, and they have friends and groups, they're very active in sports, they're very active in their schools. They have structure around them here. So as much as I'm not a huge fan of living in Chicago and the traffic and the taxes, uh, it's where they need to be right now. So that's where I am.
You opened up a small business.
Yes, sir, I did.
So let me get this straight. All this professional moves and successes and all these things, you got single parenting. You decide to go ahead and carve a space out to open up a small business. And as a small business owner myself, I know how dang hard that is. What in the world possessed you to just jump into this world as well?
I decided one day that I wasn't busy enough. That I didn't have enough on my plate managing 2 children into good young adults, raising 2 young children and trying to get them to be responsible, respectful, independent, big on commitment and responsibilities, all that stuff. A full-time career that is very demanding. And then I was like, oh man, maybe what can I add to my plate? But no, really what it is I saw a hole and I filled it. I've whether it's been in my career in law enforcement, I've been an implementer, I've been a doer. I think that relates to your statement about leadership. Is there's people that go and do it, and then there's people that talk about it. I am the person. I know this about myself, and I'm not trying to puff out my chest. I'm a doer. I will go do it.
I'm going to interrupt you.
And I'll make it happen.
I want to interrupt for just a second because I can't tell you how refreshing it is to hear you say those words, because I have to listen to so many dudes tell me how busy they are. And they just apologize if you're one of those guys, but man, I ain't got time. I ain't got time to listen to how busy you are. And also, if you're that busy, we wouldn't have this time to talk about it. Let's just go do more. So I thank you for being a doer, and I appreciate it saying I don't have enough to do. I'm going to go do more.
Yeah, my days are very structured. Like I had a coworker call me from St. Louis that used to be in our office the other day, and like we're talking about this, that, and the other work-wise, and then he starts wanting to shoot the shit. I finally had to come like, hey man, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'm on a tight schedule, man. I'm sorry I can't talk, but I gotta go. And yeah, I'm the same. But the business. So I saw a hole and I decided to fill it. And it started out clothing, and I was doing clothing in the area because I saw a hole here regionally about what what was working well for the guys locally.
Are you
And
talking about
then
F3 guys?
yeah, F3 guys. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's how it started. That's how all this started. All my business is all based around F3. Like the mindset, the 1%, everything like that. For me, it's our tagline for Frontline Athletic is fueling your next 10, as in instead of you saying, "Oh, you need to go give 110%." Well, you're having a hard time giving 100. So how are you going to get 110? My goal at Frontline Athletic is to help you find your next 10%. And then when you get that, I want to be there to help you find the next 10 and the next 10 till you achieve what you're trying to achieve, right? I saw a hole, and there is a certain huge company that is in the rucking and sandbag market that will remain nameless.
Like they don't know who it is.
Yeah, yeah, but I'm not gonna get
I get you. I
sued
appreciate
or
it. Yeah,
something like that with
that's
somebody
right.
else who's watching. So I saw that um I did a Black Friday purchase. This is right very in the infancy of the business. And I took a Black Friday purchase 40% off, and then there was a code for F3 members that you could stack.
Do you ever get frustrated with guys constantly asking for discounts?
No, I don't, because I don't, because um I'm here to serve a community. Like I'm trying to build a community, and if me not clearing as much margin on something gets you out there rucking or working with the sandbag, man, we
Yeah,
both won.
yeah.
That's my mindset. Like I don't mind it at all. I get asked all the time. I have discounts specifically for F3 because I want guys to get out there and get active, and so in regards to the whole business thing, I saw a hole, so I started designing. My goal was not to reinvent the wheel, but to improve upon it. You know, ruck is a ruck is a ruck is a ruck, right? Like there's only so many ways to change it. So I I I bought a bunch of different companies. I tore them all apart, and I rebuilt what I thought was a good ruck. And then I
You bought
rebuilt.
you bought other companies?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
That's
buy their
cool.
equipment, and well, because I want to see what's working for them and what's not. And every one of these companies, there's something that works for them, and every one of them, there's something that is an absolute fail. And I'm sure that's going to be attributed to my company at some point too.
Yep.
I don't doubt it. But
I lose sleep over that as well. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like um, and so I started building, and we had this beautiful F3 community here in the Naperville area that was my research and development and my testing and evaluation. So they were giving me ideas of like what they missed on like that isn't available, what they would like to see. And then I started slapping it together. I put together samples, and I started having guys going out and using them. And in using them, I got great feedback. And then in October, so a year into this, in October of 2024, I did a pre-market run. Some guys have these both nationally and locally. That was threefold. Well, first off, it was to increase visibility. Second, it was to raise capital because this is grassroots. I'm bootstrapping this, right? And third, it was more testing because if I've got 3 rucks out there throughout Naperville, I'm only gonna get so much feedback. But if I have 200 out there, well, the feedback is going to multiply, right? And I'm going to learn like these are the tweaks I need to make for like the public production line, right? So it was a great bag, still is a great bag, very serviceable, but there's tweaks that I wanted to make it more accessible to the public. And I mean like instead of buying some $120 proprietary steel plate, you can go on Amazon and you can buy a $30, 30-pound plate by the companies that are on there, the long plates, and it fits perfectly in our bag. And that's the idea. Because I, I want my company to mirror the mindset of F3. And what I mean by that, by saying that, Huck, is that so in F3 we all have nicknames, right? You're Huckleberry, I'm Laimbeer. We work out together. You're just Huckleberry, man. If I'm downrange, you're Huckleberry from Boise, and I'm Laimbeer from Naperville, and that's it. But in all reality, you have guys that own IT security companies that have vacation homes working out next to a guy that possibly works piecemeal for a lawn care service, right? So when you Huckleberry are there and you say, and you guys are doing like a Freedom Ops DTE prep and you're trying to recruit a new guy for that, and you're like, hey, this is what we're doing. If you want decent gear, you want to go to this site, you're going to buy this, 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 and this. By the way, it's going to cost you $600 all when it's all said and done. Well, for the IT security, for the company owner, that's Tuesday afternoon, right? It's easily absorbed. For the other guy, that's very well his take home pay each week, and he's never making that purchase. So now he's buying off of Amazon, and it lasts 3 months, and he's buying another one, and it's a vicious cycle where he's just throwing away money. And so in that mindset of F3, I wanted to make it accessible to the masses. So my goal was threefold. One, to build a better bag than the competition, whether it's a ruck or a sandbag. Build it higher quality. And I'm sure there's going to be hiccups along the way. I'm sure there's going to be problems I'm going to have. But that's why I wanted to hit my second goal of offering a lifetime warranty. So my second goal of hitting a lifetime warranty was next. And we're there quality-wise that I feel comfortable putting out a lifetime warranty. Now, I don't care what bag you have from what company. Lifetime warranty, that bag might last you 5 years. Well, that's fine. Come back to me with that bag. Okay. All right. And hopefully you'll be so appreciative and so loyal to our community at that point that you want to buy something else. But I'll replace that bag because you put in the work on it. So you deserve to have what you deserve. So lifetime warranty, quality, and then price. And yes, they're dealing at this point in shipping containers, and I'm dealing in pallets, right? So our margins are not relative to each other because the volume is way different. But in all reality, like I needed to be accessible and to interest people as the new guy compared to tried and true. I needed to offer a better price. So that's why our bag retails at 175. Our sandbag retails at $100. And then I'm always, you asked about, do you get tired of guys asking for discount codes? Not at all, man. Like I will give a guy 15% off in a heartbeat to get him out there working out.
It gets on my nerves when people ask it for a discount all the time because, man, I work so hard to just create a product that, and I try to initially think we're keeping the barriers down. We're trying to make this accessible to everybody. We want everybody to participate or have the opportunity to participate. But man, on top of that, and then the reasons people come up with of why they deserve one, I just don't like the behaviors associated with it. Like I deserve this because, or I do this because, and I just like, well, and a lot, and yeah, I got no problem offer discounts. I typically I don't know right or wrong, but if you tell me you need it, I'll give it to you. You say something you can't afford it, you got it automatically, just period. And that's typically how I roll. And that's probably not the best way. Don't shoot me an email now if you're listening to my people listening. Don't shoot me that. But small businesses it's hard. It's just hard to be a small business when you go up against the world. And you're starting from, there's a book called 0 to 1. And it's just inertia. The amount of energy it takes to get started it's a lot more than energy to remain consistent. And to dig into that, and to give me a reason why, and I love that you keep your prices. You come from the mindset of keeping my prices affordable now. And you're still going to ask for a discount. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm glad you do that. I'm just, let me ask you this. I get, in my email box, I get a ton of people asking to promote the product and things like that. And we just typically, F3 just typically doesn't. But F3 does have a couple relationships with some folk. Does that frustrate you?
No, because I understand that it's a nonprofit, right? But it is also, if you ever listen to Dark Helmet's interview with Joe DeSena of Spartan Races.
I have a couple times.
He talks about, a conversation where F3 is kind of like trying to figure out its identity, and he states, it was a good interview. Helmet is a very well spoken dude, easy to talk to. But he talks about, hey, we're a nonprofit, but we're really not a nonprofit. And we're not a business, right? But so where do we fall? And in regards to that, I'm just saying that I don't have any problem with them having agreements with other groups. Where this company gives them 10%, this company gives them 15%. I mean, it's good for all sides. Like you have a company giving them 50%, that's free marketing for that company. to give them 15% of the net, right? And you can guarantee they're still making plenty of money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be willing to give up 15%. But on the flip side, F3 is creating revenue stream where they don't have it, because you can only come to guys and ask them to donate monies, right? Before they're like, man, you were just asking me last month to donate money. Now you're asking me to. I thought this was a free men's workout, right? And
Why
so
is that? I wonder. F3 is the only nonprofit that people get frustrated with that you donate money. Like every other nonprofit in the world can like is constantly sending you emails and hey, don't forget about us. We're your favorite charity. Think about us during tax time. But man, when it talks about F3, man, people just like I don't know. I don't know what happened. But I run a nonprofit. People are donating to us all the time. It's very kind. I appreciate that. But I hear this a lot of, I don't want to donate to a free men's workout. But it's still a nonprofit and there's still expenses associated with it. And if you want to, that's great, but don't get upset about it. I hear guys get frustrated with it.
yeah,
Help me understand that.
I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
In our marketing, there's nobody that you can have empathy for, right? So like all these other nonprofits, or somebody sick or dealing with a terminal illness, or down on their luck in some sort of way, like in a bad place in some sort of way, and it causes empathy for you. Well, we're a men's wellness group, right? For all lack of better terms, we are working to help people get healthier, not focusing on somebody that is downtrodden. And I mean, we do, but you know what I mean? So like, they're not putting out like, what was the last one? Like Rewind 24. What was, I think something like that, where like, if you got so many donations, like you got your AO got a shovel flag, stuff like that. Um, you know, it is what it is. You're donating to keep this group afloat. You're not donating to help somebody overseas that it doesn't have running water, right? So like it's different, and that's why people balk at it, because people don't get concerned, and we're all guilty of this, until it's smacking them in their face about how bad a situation is. So on the surface, you and I, we look healthy, we're good, Helmet and whoever gets on a state of the nation type podcast,
July
everybody
22nd,
looks
6 p.m. Mountain Time.
what's that?
July 22nd, 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
There you go.
See, I did
Like,
it.
everybody looks healthy. Like the backdrop is somebody's nice house and stuff like that. Like, their office and stuff like that. Nobody looks like they're struggling. So it doesn't resonate the same way with the guys when they're seeing that, and you want them to send money, because it's not like, oh man, they've got it so bad right now. So I'll tell you, like, straight off the bat, without, forget political correctness and all that stuff. Like, it's not pushed. It's not, empathy is not pushed in it. So people aren't just like handing over their money. Like, you have to really speak to their minds and hearts instead of just speak to empathy.
A lot of comparisons between us and Alcoholics Anonymous, for example. No one really knows who runs Alcoholics Anonymous. Nobody really knows how many numbers are in. There's not it's a very decentralized organization, but there is there is a organization system in New York that kind of governs the whole thing. And
Yeah.
and I'm guessing you're going to say it's going to lean on that empathy, the heart, and that the guys struggling with alcohol. We don't really present like a specific. We don't put a visual of what guys are suffering through. We just kind of present that we know all guys are struggling, and all guys need support. And we found in our world, it's hard to find support. It's hard to open up. It's hard to just discuss, man, I'm struggling. I don't know how to do certain things. I don't know how to cook. And so I get it. But I don't know how we market that. I don't know what we do. Just put, I don't know how would I market that? How would we solve that problem?
You bring it out to the front and center. You address it, and guys don't typically address that, right? Like, you address mental health issues within F3 Nation of guys struggling. Like, I could tell you in Naperville, man, guy's in a good situation and he's having a kid. There's not a day there. Nobody's thinking about doing a diaper drive, right, for them as they're getting ready to have a kid. But somebody's M goes down or something like that, and they're parent only for a month. The guys, meal trains are lining up, gift cards, everything, because Whereas like, and I've never asked for this, and guys have taken good care of me, but I'd say an example, like I was a single father for a long time. Like, nobody was lining up meal trains, right? But when your situations change dramatically, people tend to take notice. So when a situation changes dramatically, like you live in a nice house, you got running water, and you see a dramatic change of this person is living on the street, they have no water, they can't even get food and stuff like that. Well, you want to help. So I think how you change that is if the nation took it upon themselves to reach out and address these things, not necessarily point anything out. Like now, I say, "Oh, Huckleberry is down on his luck. Let's donate to the nation because of Huckleberry, and 10% will
Yeah,
go to
see, I don't
Huckleberry."
like that. Doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know how to do that.
Right,
Like,
right.
I'll
Well,
tell you.
but if you talk about what everybody can relate to, of, man, we are working to be better, but every day is a struggle. We have plenty of guys in our nation that are dealing with mental health or this, that, and the other. Help us support them by donating, because that's what it is, right? Like you are creating a men's workout that is 3F: fitness, fellowship, and faith, and we all need that. So they may not be directly donating to Huckleberry, or they might, because somebody's really down and downtrodden. But it's an overall mission, right? If they thought about doing that, I think they might get a little better reaction sometimes. And that's just my 2 cents.
I love donations. They're amazing because it's not my money. It's fun to give it away. This year, we have some fundraisers that I don't want to get behind the scenes of what I do. $1,000 came in. It's the only money we've gotten all year. But anyway, for as far as donations, because we just don't ask for it, to be honest with you. But we were able to give that all to a community out in Washington, Pomeroy, and outfit a bunch of kids with just some, a shirt and 5K, and just get them active. But I love donations because it's like I get to go. Why did you give it to me? You could have given to those people directly, but you gave it to me to give it to them. Oh man, that's really cool. I appreciate that. Um, Back to something you said about diaper drives. What I think I got the timeline correct, but you went through your divorce prior to joining F3, correct?
Yeah,
How
finalized in 2020, and I joined F3 in 21.
how would that have been different had you been in F3? Would you have had more support during that time?
Absolutely. I didn't have any support. I had the support of my mom and a church group. And that was it. And the church group was about like 4 or 5 people. And um, I didn't have support for anything. It was all on my own. Uh, I remember passing out asleep at night with tears in my eyes because I was so exhausted. I remember one time being so tired that I was cooking dinner and I just like laid out over the counter because I was just so tired. And my kids were going through it, like, because of the situation, and I won't get into that, but like my kids were struggling because um, they were trying to process, and kids, I mean, adults don't even know how to process and cope with stuff, but they were trying to process and cope with a situation that was uh, very negative for them. And when you're there, when you're the constant, their frustrations and their coping mechanism is to push that back on you. So not only am I doing everything for them, I'm taking the brunt. I'm taking beat downs like daily, and I'm gladly saying, "Thank you very much. Give me another." Right? But it's exhausting, and people would say to me, "I don't know how you're doing it. How are you doing it?" And I said, "Well, if I don't get up and do it, who's gonna? If I don't get up the next day when I'm exhausted and I don't want to get out of bed, who's gonna make lunches for my kids and get them off to school? Nobody. Nobody's coming over and saving me at the time. Like nobody's helping. If I don't do it, they're gonna sleep till 10. Because they're kids,
Hmm.
and then they're gonna be hungry. So if I let depression or something like that grab a hold of me, there was no time for stuff like that. You just did it. So if I had F3 at that time, man, I mean, it still would have been a struggle for certain, but um, it would have been better because I've seen when I've had tough times and the outreach, like just even if it's just for like a couple weeks helping out, it's just it moves your heart, right? Like I remember, well, I don't remember it because it was recently. Like there's times where Aladdin has helped me out with my kids, even when we don't hang out as much. Where like, man, you couldn't ask other people that. So um, F3 is definitely life changing for sure. And my Nicole, she says that all the time. She's like, I'm so glad you have F3 because it's such an amazing group.
And it blows my mind to see here a guy of your caliber just really leaning on along that. Um, let's talk about the leadership principles of F3. You know, we're a leadership group. I love what you said about not all guys are leaders. I think you said that. Did you say that?
Yeah, yeah. Not everybody's a leader. That's
You know,
okay.
and I run races, and I like this analogy is we have to there's a couple different systems we have to put in our races. One is the front runners, the leaders of the race. They are running so fast and so hard, and they're so driven. They prepare so hard for that day that they kind of lose a little bit of focus, and we have to put special attention on making sure they know where to go on turns, and we have to now once we get those guys through, everybody else just follows. It's almost like we can take the whole signs away. We don't need directions. We know that they just follow the leaders. So when we build systems, are we really building it for everybody? Are we building it for just a couple few that are natural born leaders? And I think the F3 numbers would reflect that. Not everybody steps up to be an AOQ. Not everybody steps up to be an Nantan. Some guys shy away from it. I got guys that feel like they have enough leadership in their life. They didn't come to F3. They're really there for the first F and just that workout and the fellowship, of course. But they're not in there. Have you jumped in the F3 leadership roles or?
Yeah, I've been a site Q, or as you said, like an AOQ.
Mhm.
And um, I find myself taking more of like informal leadership role. Like I haven't done formal leaderships beyond site Q just because of my life situations. But I have found myself in F3 taking informal leadership roles throughout, whether it's something in a second F or something in a third F. Somebody needs help like putting together, a channel on Slack and getting people going on it and donating and meal trains and stuff like that. So I would not say as much formal leadership as informal leadership in that organization.
Can you describe what those soft skills as opposed to like overt? I love the concept of consistency over structure. We're looking for guys kind of moving in the right direction and understanding the principles behind it, as opposed to just telling dudes what to do. Are
Oh
you the
yeah.
why guy behind the scenes?
I mean, it goes back to implementing. Like it's just saying like this needs to be get done. I'm gonna get it done. And
Okay.
so if everybody's standing around, like, all right, let's go. Come on, let's go. Whether it's in a workout, hey, why are you guys just standing there? We're waiting for the six. Squat till the six comes in. Just saying it. Or like somebody's kids or wife is sick and like nobody's doing anything. Like, all right, I'm starting a channel. I'm adding all these people to it. All right, I need you to. I'm a delegate authority. Hey, I need you to set up a meal train. I need you to uh, set up. Search out like a house cleaning service for them and a yard care service. And then we're gonna start donate money. I'll take the money in. I'll get it done. All that stuff. That type of informal leadership where you don't have as much structure as you just need to lead. You just need to take with for the lack of the situation and defining a term with the same term, which is not proper. I'm sure that you need to lead by leading. It's true though. Like if you don't know what to do and you're able to just step up and do it, that's leadership. Like implementation is leadership. You tell your people talk about all the time, like, oh, I came up with this idea. I should have done this, da, da, da. I'm like, well, then do it. But that's easier than said than done for some people, you know?
You made me snot myself. Sorry. Yeah, I work with those guys. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The idea
Uh,
guys, you can be an idea guy and an implementer too, and that's what a leader is it's the idea guy and the implementer. Because there's implementers, there's guys that go out and get it done, and then there's guys that come up with ideas, and then there's that rare few in F3 you see it a lot too of both, where the guy that is the implementer and the doer, right? Or I mean the thinker and the doer, and those are the guys that are the leaders, whether informal or formal. Like we've seen, I in my time here 4 years, we've had amazing Nantans and we've had so Nantans, right? We've never had a bad one since in the 4 years I've had here, but you can tell like when the true leadership really shines through, because man, that guy is amazing. right? Like the masses just listen.
When guys advise me about who they should find their replacement, I give the same advice to everybody. It's don't look for what you think is going to be a good leader for the next. I need you to find somebody different than you that can lead differently, because I just feel like collectively we're better. And if you limit it to your style and you get another replica of you, we're just going to compare you to the guy before, and whether or not you're good and it's better. But find a guy that's just different, and in a good way, not
Because you're going to get compared regardless, right? Just
absolutely.
like Frontline Athletic gets compared to the big boys, right? Like, oh well, they don't have this or they have this, they should have this. I expected more from this. Like, well, slow down, man, slow down. Like, this is our thing. They got their thing. This is our thing. We're working to be better. And that relates to Nantan too. Like, slow down. Like, this is the way that person led. This is the way this person leads. They're completely different people. He may have been great at this guy, give him a chance to be great at something, right?
Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna lock up because my brain's spinning now. Yeah, and in that world, and in a world where guys are passionate and creating a content complex, we're not all gonna see each other's perspectives, and we're not going to see each other's sides of it. And I think to go back to the very beginning, what we talked about. Behind every organization, especially in F3, is a freaking amazing dude. I'll attest to that. I get to speak to dudes across this nation, and this situation is no different. Amazing dude that it just continues to excel. Where can you tell me about a failure you had? I mean, you keep talking about all these amazing things you do. I'm kidding. Don't do that. Don't do
No,
that.
I can't. Of course, I can tell you about failure. It's just always a little harder. Like when you go to a job interview and they ask you what you would improve about yourself, you have to actually give it some thought for a little bit, right? Because nobody wants to think of themselves as a failure. Nobody wants to think about themselves as falling straight on their face. But yeah, I mean, of course, like, I would have to think about it a little more. We might have some dead space, but yeah, I have failures for sure, right? Whether it's cues that didn't work out or relationships, I mean, like, I am divorced, or mistakes that you make with your children, because we're not perfect, we're trying to teach them how to be responsible young adults, but we make mistakes ourselves. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, right? Like thinking about, like, when you're younger and you're selfish and you only think of yourself, like when you're in your early 20s and stuff like that. Like, there's times that my mom, who's always been there for me, she's 81 years old, like, she would need stuff done, and I lived across the state, and I wouldn't even think about helping her because I was like 22 years old, and I was only thinking about myself. And then, like 5, 6 years later, it starts clicking. I'm like, oh, I need to go do such and such. So I'd say failures is like, um, seeing things for what they needed to be at a certain time, you know something like that with like my mom. And I don't even know if that makes sense, but yeah, we all have failures, but I'd have to really give it some thought, and we probably have some dead air.
I love it. Did you go to work out this morning?
Yeah, man, we did. We have in Naperville, we have on Fridays, so we have black diamonds 4 days a week. And for any packs that don't know what a black diamond is, it's a much more intense workout. Instead of 45 minutes, it's an hour, and there's no 10 counts. So there's no breaks. You just keep going. And yes, we are leave no man behind, leave no man where you found him. But if you're moving somewhere, like if you're on Indian Run or you're in a sprint from one location to another, like on a Pearls of String or something like that, or from thing one to thing two, and not everybody is in, they're not going to wait for the six. The site queue or the AO queue will go back and get them and make sure that they're good. But the guy that's leading is going to just keep it moving for everybody else because everybody's trying to get a really good workout in. And that's an hour-long one. And so on Mondays and Thursdays, we have Black Diamond Boot Camp. On Wednesdays, we have Black Diamond Run Club. And on Fridays, we have a new thing that started a little over a year ago called Black Diamond Lift Club. And I was the site Q for Black Diamond Lift Club last year, and I implemented this thing called Summer of Swole. And so the
I
whole
think I saw
goal
that.
was
I think I saw that.
maybe Summer Swole. So the whole thing was you signed a contract, like figuratively with me, that every Friday, it's summer, you're going to travel, but every Friday that you're in town, you're at Black Diamond Lift Club. And it was also building leadership, right? And my goal was to get people involved, let them see that they could do a black diamond, and then teach them to lead. So by the end of the summer, each person that signed up for this, they had to cue a black diamond. So they had to lead a black diamond lift club. And man, it was in my opinion, it was wildly successful. There was probably like 20 some packs that were regulars every week. And then they all led by the end of the summer, they're all leading. And some workouts were great, some workouts were not so great, but they were forced to lead, because there's guys that are built to lead and cue all the time. And then there's guys that want nothing to do with it. They don't want to lead a workout. They're not comfortable. It forced them to lead a workout. And then so this summer, the new site Q, Mr. Freeze, he continued the summer swole. So this summer swole season 2, same thing. So Friday this morning we had like this negatives and breath work club ran by a guy named Bronco, who is a total meathead. But awesome dude, and he led this workout, and it was good. It was just like, concentric, slow, burn everything out, take a break, and it was intense. It was intense. Like I suspect that I'll probably be a little bit sore tomorrow in some areas, and so you got a good one the next day when you're a little sore. Did you post this morning?
We went over to a place called Camel's Back, and we worked out on top of the
hill. I love that park.
You've been there?
Yeah, I told you I used to come to Boise all the time, man. Camelback is beautiful, man.
It is.
The hill right there? Yeah. I've done some workouts there.
The thing I don't like about it is it's just dirt, and man, my beard is just destroyed. The guy's like blockies, burpees, and you're just in that dirt. And I don't think they understand how hard it is to keep this thing maintained. They don't respect that, making me get in the dirt. So I only do Merkins till my beard touches, and that's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a good park, man. That's a good park. Nice little hiking area. You guys have amazing hiking out there. There's
talking about it.
Yeah. I don't. You want me to know, but like over by the old penitentiary. Yeah, with the cross
Table
there.
Rock.
Yeah, beautiful Table Rock, man. That's a gorgeous hike. Then you get up there to the cross, and you see over the entire city.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, it's gorgeous. I was telling my M, because I told you she used to live in Boise. I was telling her that you were in Boise. She's like, "Oh, really? Where does he live?" And I was like,
by Costco.
Wow.
Over there by Costco near the airport.
Oh yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
Yep, that's where I live. And do you know that the Grow Ruck yellow picture that everybody talks about with the hills in the background? That's Table Rock. It's just the other side. Like you were looking at the valley, that was how it was intended to be. Motorboat spun it and said, "No, we're gonna look at the hills." And at the last second, I don't know why he did that, but it turned out to be magnificent. But that's exactly where it was.
Oh, it's a beautiful view up there, man.
Yeah. Cool. Brother, it has been an hour and 2 minutes, and usually these podcasts don't talk too long. Any closing thoughts, any questions for F3 Nation? Any, and this was not supposed to be a Frontline Athletic infomercial or a promo, but I will say we have so many amazing packs. I'll give Spuds as an example out there doing amazing things. Jasmine's out there doing amazing things, and they're creating content and I think the role of F3 Nation is just to tell you what your options are. You make the decisions what's best for you individually. Don't lean on us. I ain't gonna tell you to buy it. You do what's best for you. I think it's my role to collect a lot of different information around the country and around the world now. I just heard about Ninja Creamy. Yeah, do you know what Ninja Creamy is? Me neither. But the UK guys are all about Ninja Creamies. I got to go figure out what that is now. It's a coffee machine that makes milkshakes. I don't. Anyway, tons of amazing things out there. Just check it out. Nation Slack is a great place to have a conversation. I will say again, I know Slack, you've seen it in your local region, you've seen it on the national workspace. It's inevitable. But if you have a problem with the dude, don't air it out on Slack. Just call the dude, email him, message him, and just have a conversation. I promise you the dude on the other end of that microphone, or the other dude at the other end of that whatever, is a great dude. Is an absolutely amazing dude, and talk. That's what we do, and that's who we are, and that's who we're supposed to be role models for this movement, and that's what just needs to happen, guys. Talking, and at the end of the day, we're all in this together. That's the community we have. Cool. You good? You got anything else?
Oh yeah, no. I just appreciate you having me on the show. It was actually Sheldon from F3 Des Moines that said, "Man, we should put this on his podcast." Sheldon's a really good dude, man. I like him. And I said, I was like, Yeah, that sounds like fun. Sure, why not? Let's talk it out on podcast. And next thing you know, you're messaging me like, "Hey, you said something about a podcast.
Let's
Let's do
go.
this."
Let's
And
go.
and I'm all for it. Like, I just appreciate the opportunity. Like, I enjoy this type of venue to talk about stuff. I get to know people. You let people get to know you. It's not all about a business. Yes, there is a business in play here for me. But my goal is to, and with the business in F3, anything is to help people become better versions of themselves.
Absolutely.
And that's what I'm trying to achieve as a part of F3, is to motivate guys to find the discipline to be a better version of themselves. And that's what I'm trying to do with the business too, is help guys, that find a place and be a part of something.
And just before, we always chat before we get on this microphone, the hot mic, and one of the things that precipitated this conversation was the JFK speech of, don't ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do. And clearly we have an individual who found a space that he could go do something. And you know what he did? He went and did it. And that's what we should be embracing. That's what we should be celebrating. And we need more guys like Laimbeer out there finding, you see it, you know what needs to be improved. Go do it. Go do it. Don't wait on permission. Don't ask anybody. Go do something. And the other one was the man in the arena. Here's a guy creating, he's out here struggling. He's managing everything. And yeah, we'll get critics. We'll get some chirps, and we're not doing it good. And we're doing, oh, you weren't talking to me. Yeah, I had the
No,
same
no,
thing.
no. My daughter just peeked around the corner. She wants to go for a bike ride with her friends, and I asked her to wait till I was done. And that was about a half hour ago.
I know, right? My
So
wife just
she's
came in.
waiting. She's waiting. So I'm like,
And it's her birthday on Monday, right?
yes. Yeah, she's
Y'all have a
turning
great
14.
weekend. All right, I'm going to play some music and get us out of here. Hang on real tight. And